Satanism and Caucasian, Western ideology is the beast, 666. A Pan-African perspective. The world has been looking for the beast written about in Judaism, Christian and Islam scriptures, 666, for centuries. The world governments and religious organizations have been deceiving us this entire time. History. Caucasian Western ideology is the beast, 666. Here are the facts. 1. Rebellion against the source. Satanism symbolically represents rebellion against divine order, Lucifer defying the source, choosing self-rule over alignment with cosmic harmony. Western Caucasian ideology. During colonization, European systems deliberately severed African and indigenous peoples from ancestral wisdom, destroying spiritual systems and replacing them with Eurocentric religions and laws. Common ground. Both operate on a break away from the source mindset, an assertion that humans, or elites, can create their own rules, detached from universal spiritual laws. In satanic narratives, Lucifer's fall stems from rejecting divine authority, a quest for self-rule over alignment with cosmic law. Similarly, European colonialism severed indigenous peoples from ancestral knowledge, replacing spiritual balance with Eurocentric religion, law, and governance. Both assert that man can define reality, independent of divine order. African cosmologies, however, root identity within ancestral continuity. We are extensions of those before us, bound to universal balance. 2. Materialism over spirit. Satanism often glorifies earthly pleasures, power, and control, prioritizing the tangible over the transcendent. Western ideology, rooted in capitalism and scientific materialism, where value is measured by wealth, property, and consumption, not spiritual alignment. Common ground. Both elevate matter over spirit and self over community, creating cultures of excess, exploitation, and disconnection from nature. Satanism celebrates earthly indulgence, sensory pleasure, and material gain. Western ideology mirrors this through capitalism's relentless consumption, valuing profit over people and wealth over wellness. By contrast, African spiritual traditions teach, wealth is communal, abundance is shared, not hoarded. Spirit governs matter. Imbalance in spirit manifests as suffering in the material world. Ubuntu reminds us, I am because we are. 3. Domination as a virtue. In both Satanism and Western ideology, power is sanctified. The satanic ethos praises the strong ruling the weak. Colonialism institutionalized racial hierarchies, justifying slavery, genocide, and land theft as natural order. African governance models, by contrast, center consensus, collective survival, and balance. Satanism promotes the idea that the strong rule the weak and celebrates the will to power. Caucasian, Western ideology, colonialism, white supremacy, and neoliberal capitalism are built on structural dominance, conquest, enslavement, and control of resources and peoples. Common ground. Both systems thrive on hierarchies, reinforcing the belief that some lives, cultures, or beings are inherently superior to others. 4. Inversion of sacred values. What African cosmologies hold sacred, Western and satanic frameworks often degrade. Land becomes property. Ancestors become irrelevant. Community becomes secondary to ego. Under colonialism, African spiritual systems were demonized, while exploitation was framed as civilization. This is a spiritual inversion, an attack on memory and meaning itself. Satanism places humanity at the center of power, elevating individual will above divine or natural laws. Western ideology. Through industrialization and imperialism, Western systems treat nature as property and other peoples as resources to be exploited. Common ground. Both embrace an anthropocentric worldview where dominion replaces stewardship, resulting in ecological destruction and cultural genocide. 5. Inversion of sacred values. Satanism often inverts spiritual principles. What is sacred becomes profane. What is forbidden becomes glorified. Western ideology Through colonization, Africa's spiritual systems were labeled pagan, savage, or evil, while destructive practices like slavery, land theft, and genocide were framed as civilization. Common ground. Both participate in a value-flipping mechanism where power, control, and domination are seen as virtues, while communalism, humility, and spiritual reverence are dismissed as weakness. Western ideology, like satanic rebellion, thrives on fragmentation. Humans separated from nature, individuals separated from community, colonized peoples separated from ancestral memory. African systems, however, teach that life is a web. The seen and unseen, the living and the ancestors, the human and the cosmic, all are one. Losing this connection leads to spiritual amnesia and ecological destruction. In contrast, many indigenous and African cosmologies uphold Ubuntu, I am because we are, communalism, Ma'at, balance between self, community, cosmos, and source. Ancestral continuity, guidance from those before us to sustain harmony for those after us. Western systems and satanic ideology both invert these values, making them appear inferior or primitive, while glorifying dominance and material gain. Satanism and Caucasian ideology converge in their celebration of ego, domination, and disconnection. They represent two expressions of the same underlying rebellion against Ma'at, the African principle of truth, justice, and cosmic balance. Pan-African liberation requires more than political independence. It demands a spiritual reawakening. By restoring ancestral wisdom, embracing Ubuntu, and reclaiming Ma'at, we realign with the source and heal from centuries of imposed fragmentation.